Hello, I'm Chatty and welcome to my channel Chatty the Mad Chatter, where I will be chatting away madly about books. So welcome back, or welcome if you are new here, popping in because you're lost or curious. So today I'm going to be doing one of the videos that I really enjoy, where you drink a cup of tea and read a chapter of one book, put it down, read a chapter of another book, put it down, and so on until you've read your selection, and then you decide out of those ones which book you feel in the mood for reading. So earlier on this month I did a book game and got these 4 books from it. So 3 are middle grade and 1 is an adult novella. So I'm going to be reading a bit of each of them and deciding which one I fancy picking up. So first off we have Rainbow Grey by Laura Ellen Anderson. I keep wanting to call her Lauren, I don't know why, very sorry. This is a middle grade fantasy novel and it's the first in a new series, and I'm very excited to pick this one up. I got it for my birthday in May and I haven't picked it up yet because I've been trying to finish off series, so I might very well be in the mood for this one. I will be linking all of these books to Storygraph so you can find out a little bit more detail about them, but I don't want to know because I like to go into my books knowing as little as possible. But we have to show off those edges again, and there's some fantastic artwork in there which I will also show you as I go through. So I've marked the end of that first chapter, so I will be reading this little section here to get a taste and a feel for that book. Next I have another children's fantasy middle grade book, which is The Wizards of Once by Cressida Carroll. It is another first book in the series, and this series is finished and I own all of them. So if I pick this one up, I then feel that I will be reading 1 book a month to get through that series, because I really don't want to have series hanging around. I like to read them as I go to finish them off so I can appreciate them more as a whole. It's set in a fantasy world. It involves a wizard and a warrior, and I believe there is an inanimate object that has become sentient. I love those things, so I'm quite excited to see the little quirky characters. I love quirks and whimsical, so I am very excited for this one as well. And I have marked off, there's quite a bit of this one, but it is quite a bit bigger I think than the other books. So I've got this much for this one. That's the prologue and the first chapter of that one that I'm going to be testing out. And then we have another children's middle grade, because that's what I was in the mood for when I did my book game. But this one is a mystery. And it's part, again, another first in the series. It is the Adventures on Train series. And this is the Highland Falcon Thief by M.G. Leonard and Sam Sedgman. And I have marked out again, I'm going to be reading this much to get that first chapter. And so we will see how this one goes. Very excited about this. I have got it from the library, so this is not my own copy, but I'm very keen to read this series and see how I get on with it. And then the novella is The Emperor's Soul by an author I don't think anyone's heard of, Brandon Sanderson. Don't know if anyone knows him, if you're a fantasy reader. So I have, of course, read Elantris. I don't know when I read it. Last year sometime, maybe. I read Elantris anyway. I read Mistborn, then Stormlight, then Elantris. And so this is a novella that comes after Elantris. All of those books are in the Cosmere. I'm really looking forward to getting to Rhythm of War this year. I'm so excited. And then there is another book in the Mistborn series, The Last Metal, coming out in November, and Cosmere overlapping, I believe, is going to be happening in those. So I want to make sure I'm caught up on all things Cosmere. So it is a novella. It's short, especially by Sanderson's standard. And I have marked out this section here to read, because that's a prologue, and then there's a good stopping point within the chapter part, because it's so small I don't want to overread it. So there we go, got my books. I'm gonna go brew a tea. I'm gonna get to a nice reading moment. I believe I have a bit of time before my children are due back, so I'm hoping to get all this done in one sitting. Obviously, if there's an outfit change in between me reading, you'll know that that didn't happen. Also hoping I can drink my tea warm. We will see. So I'm all sorted. I have my tea. I've also got a little bit of sneaky toast as well, peanut butter and Marmite, but not together if you're interested. Also got one of my son's blankets made by my friend Laura, which is very cozy. Thanks Laura for the snuggles. And I'm going to start off with Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson. So I'll see you in a bit. But obviously I want to carry on reading. Just got down to this bit here, and intrigue levels very high. It definitely reads like a classic Sanderson, thrown into the world, magic system, very exciting. I don't know how he manages to come up with so many amazing, unique magic systems. I mean, if I'd come up with one, I'd be thrilled for the rest of my life, but there's another one in here that I don't think it was present in Elantris at all. And I just want to keep reading and find out what's going to happen. Nice. I'm liking the protagonist. I'm enjoying the banter's the wrong word, but the two colleagues that don't always get on having to kind of work together feeling as well. So I'm very much enjoying it. But now I'm going to move on to reading the Highland Falcon Thief. So it's going to be a very different vibe. No magic in this one. This is the only non-magical book. So I'll see how the setup of this one goes and how I feel about it. Toast is gone. I now have a nice full tummy. But the tea is still hot, so we're good to go. So obviously I wasn't quite quick enough to do my reading. I've relocated back upstairs to finish off. But I have resettled my children with some snacks and television, so hopefully I have enough time to finish off this before a crisis occurs. Anyway, I have enjoyed my first chapter of the Highland Falcon Thief, and this book has a map. So it's got a map of the train journey of the Highland Falcon. It's starting in King's Cross. It's going to go all the way up and then come back down to London Paddington. So we've been introduced to the protagonist and his family, and he's just got to go on this final journey of the Highland Falcon with his uncle. And immediately, if anything else, I am won over by this book by the uncle being described as his crumpet-coloured raincoat. His raincoat is described as the same colour as a crumpet. I'm here. It's already lovely, cosy, middle grade vibes. There's been a headline in the newspaper about a jewel thief. I'm enjoying looking to see how the relationship between our protagonist Hal and his uncle, his weird uncle he only sees at Christmas, goes. So yes, also keen to keep reading this one. So far, I haven't really got an inkling as to which one is going to be the one I'll pick up, and I'm wondering if I'm going to have to end up rolling a dice because I can't make a decision. And I forgot two important points. My tea has been reheated, so I'm ready, and I'm going to start my prologue and the first chapter of Wizards of Once now. So I have just read a little bit of the Wizards of Once, and again, this is another book that I'm just so excited to start reading. I just need to just cancel the rest of my life and just read some books. That would be nice, but that's not going to work. So first of all, let's just show you the book in more exciting detail because it's beautiful. So I was lucky enough to manage to get hold of, thanks to a mixture of World of Books and Blackwell's, the hardbacks of this series. And so here we go, we have a crow, some feathers, and these fantastic end pages of this book. Same picture on both. And I'm just loving all of the drawings in here. It's fantastic. Cressida Cowell at her best. We've got the characters, we've got a map, we've got more drawings of things with further annotations You can't read it very well because the writing is very handwritten. It's sort of Cressida Carol's like stylized spiky writing. But this little note down here says this is Queen Skyrax's Iron Warrior Fort. The fort has 7 ditches and is surrounded by endless forests. And so we've got seven ditches labelled here. So I just love all of that stuff. I love random labels. So we start off with a prologue, and the voice of it is really intriguing. It's pulling me in straight away. It's building up this epic tale, and it's giving me lots of whimsy vibes, and I'm here for it. And we've just got this page that says, "Is this a feather of a witch?" And it's just things like that. It's just things like that that make me really excited about reading this whole series. So I've read the prologue and got a flavour of it. And then I've just read the first paragraph of the next chapter because it goes on for quite a long time. I originally intended to read the first chapter, all of it, all the way through, because I thought, you know, the prologue is a prologue. It's not going to give me that much. But look, there's a lot of pages here for it. So I don't want to read a chapter if I'm then going to be putting it back on the shelf. I want to immerse myself fully and read all of that when I know I'm going to definitely be reading this book series and getting excited about it. So the prologue is enough to give me the vibes of the book, and that first chapter introducing us to one of the protagonists. And here we have a wonderful illustration. And we've got Czar, pronounced Czar, riding on the back of a giant lynx. And then we've got more, so just on the next page, so it's not spoilers if you were wanting to read this, we've got some more. This is Caliburn, Czar's talking raven. I can't remember if I called it a raven or a crow, but obviously that lovely foiled purple bird on the hardcover underneath the dust jacket is clearly Caliburn the raven, unless there's another raven that we're not aware of. And then down here, a spooked snowcat looking round. Poor spooked snowcat. And that's just classic Cressida Carol. She does that. She's done that in the How to Train Your Dragon books, where she just does a little drawing and then does a little like, this is a picture of, and I just enjoy stuff like that. So that is definitely enough to whet my appetite. So let's do the final one, and then I'm going to make a decision as to which one I'm going to read. So final book, we've got Rainbow Grey. Let's see how this one goes. So I've just read the first chapter of Rainbow Grey. And again, a lovely, cozy middle grade. Just the imagination is incredible. I absolutely love it. So first of all, the art. We have got a fantastic Rainbow Grey on her cloud cat Nim, and then just some fabulous more art of Nim the cloud cat, who has already stolen my heart by doing little cloud farts, and sometimes eyes getting lost to different sides of his body. So just fun adorableness. As always in Laura Ellen Anderson's books, you get a little intro to each character and some fun facts about sort of the main ones at the first page. And it is fantastic map. I mean, down here we have the Rising Bun Bakery, which I'm loving the pun. And then we get some fantastic bakery scenes of deliciousness. And an introduction to the character and general feel of the world. So super fun and cozy. So they've all been delightful. I've not picked up any of them and thought, well, I really don't feel like reading that. I could just sit and read them all. So this is going to be really tricky. I'm just going to read each of the first lines and see if that is going to help me feel what I'm in the mood for. Emperor's Soul. I've got to pronounce this really difficult name now. Also, the sun is going and the light is appalling, so I'm just going to deal with that. Not made a huge amount of difference, but that's the best we have. Gaetano ran his fingers across the thick canvas, inspecting one of the greatest works of art he had ever seen. So that's the intrigue of this one. That's the sign from the prologue, and then the first chapter's official line is, Shy pressed her fingernail into one of the stone blocks of her prison cell. So scene is set, intrigue is there, magic system is there, ready to be explored. Very quick, easy read, I feel. I also really like trying to fit my bookmarks to match my books because it gives me a little bit of joy. So for the Emperor's Soul, I've got a bit of a Frankenstein-ish bookmark going on. I still don't know where these came from. I got them for my birthday last year, but there was no name. It just said, happy birthday, Czar, enjoy. So I have no idea where these came from. So if you're watching this and you gave these to me, thank you so much, random friends and family who could possibly be watching this. So yeah, it's got a little Mary Shelley quote on it. The beginning is always today. Okay, Highland Falcon Thief. The chapter, first line of the chapter setup. Harrison Beck pulled a biro from the pocket of his yellow anorak, deftly turning it over his index finger so it was point down, and doodled in the central margin of the newspaper spread across the table. So again, that setup of the kind of the contemporary side of this book, painting this picture of the protagonist. And yeah, I do want to read this one as well. I do want to read this one, and this is the best part for the bookmarks. We have this fabulous bookshop in Brighton called the Book Nook, which is a children's bookshop. It has some young adult books in there as well, but it is picture books, 5 to 8 range, and then the 9 to 12 range, and it's just joyous. I bought quite a lot of books from there, and the sales assistant was like, just help yourself to some bookmarks. So I did. So this is when the Danger at Dead Man's Pass book was coming out, and I knew I wanted to read this series, so I picked up this bookmark. So yay, that one went in here. Wizards of Once. Again, it's got a prologue, so I'm going to do prologue and first chapter. 2 sentences because the first one we already know. Once there was magic. It was a long, long time ago in the British Isles. So old, it did not know it was the British Isles. Just love her humour. And then the first chapter, chapter 1, A Trap to Catch a Witch. It was a warm night for November, too warm a night for witches, or so the stories said. So it feels like a very epic children's fantasy. I'm getting very epic vibes from this one. And I already showed you the feather. It's a completely different book called Fledgling. Another Book Nook bookmark I picked up. But it's got a feather, and that I didn't know it had a feather in there, but I knew it had the crow underneath. So the fact that there's an actual is this a feather of a witch thing in here just works. It really doesn't matter, but I love matching bookmarks to my books. And then Rainbow Grey, chapter 1, Not One Smidge. Every cloud really does have a silver lining. And if you lived on cloud 9 like Ray Grey, the silver lining was always getting tangled or ending up in a twist. Again, I love that humour of making a phrase into an actual thing. And for Rainbow Grey, we have a bit of weather on here of snow. Now, this bookmark is really cute because it was actually, in its former life, it was a Christmas card. And my mum cut the Christmas card and turned it into a tag for my Christmas present. And I just thought it looked so cute. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to turn it into a bookmark. So I used the ribbon it was attached to my present with and just kept it as like a little tassel. I think it's really cute. Has it helped me decide which one I feel like picking up right now? To be perfectly honest, no, not really. Not really. What other books have I got on the go? What other books do I need to be finishing at this point? Okay, so books I'm currently reading are quite heavy. And it's downstairs at the moment, but I'm also reading The Way of Kings as well. So we've got Lord of the Rings, and I've got this much left. But I am listening to that one on audio by Andy Serkis, which is a lot of fun. This one is a very heavy book in terms of like size and subject matter. The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. So it definitely needs something lighter to balance it out. And I've tabbed it all out for like the next bit, but I've still got this much left to read. So I've still got quite a lot of this left. Yeah, and I've got another couple of epic fantasies as well that I'm possibly going to be picking up for like... That's kind of all what's going on at the moment. So I think because of that, even though it's middle grade and it's a lot lighter, this feels very like epic fantasy. So I think I need to fully appreciate this. I'm going to put this back to when I've toned down the amount of epic fantasy and heavy historical fiction I've got going on, and then I'll come back to this one. So that's one option gone. And I am in the mood for a middle grade, really. So that's the adult novella gone. So it is between these two. Do I want more fantasy, which is really fun and light and fluffy, but it's still fantasy? Or do I want something completely different and want more of a mystery? And I don't have to decide now. I'm going to ponder on this, and you will find out in my March wrap-up which one I went for. There we go. I'm going to leave it on the most unexciting cliffhanger ever. Another thing to note is I still have tea. You can't see it. There's still about that much tea left in here, and it's cold. So I did not manage a full hot cup of tea. But I did manage to try all the books. So I can say I know that I enjoy what I like to read. I know my tastes. The book game gave me some good stuff to pick from. So yes, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed a watch. Let me know if any of these books have piqued your interest, or if you have enjoyed them and are championing them to be read by me. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks for hanging out and chatting books with me. Happy reading, everyone.